My child, there is a moment happening right now, not yesterday, not tomorrow, right now, where something unseen is reaching for your attention. You didn't click this by accident. You didn't land here randomly. There is a call being released, and deep inside, you already feel it, that quiet pull, that nudge you've been trying to ignore. And the question is not whether the call is real, the question is, will you answer? Or will you delay again? Because you already know what this is about. There's something you've been putting off. A decision you keep postponing. A step you were told to take it but you hesitated. Not because you didn't harp, but because you were unsure. Maybe you thought you needed more time. Maybe you convinced yourself you weren't ready. Or maybe you were just afraid of what would happen if you actually said yes. But listen closely. This is not about pressure. This is about alignment. There are moments in life where timing matters more than effort, where obedience unlocks doors that force never could. And you are standing in one of those moments right now. If you can feel even a slight stirring in your chest, just pause for a second and whisper quietly, I'm listening. Don't type it. Don't perform it. Just feel it. Because something shifts when you stop running. You've been asking for clarity. You've been praying for direction. But what if the answer already came, and it didn't look the way you expected? What if it came as a whisper instead of a sign, as a feeling instead of a voice? And you brushed it aside because it wasn't loud enough. Not everything important announces itself with noise. Some things arrive softly, but carry the weight of your next season. And here's the truth you don't hear often. Delay feels safe, but it slowly disconnects you from the path that was prepared for you. It doesn't happen instantly. It happens quietly. One hesitation at a time. One, I'll do it later, at a time, until suddenly you feel stuck, confused, and distant. Not because you were abandoning, but because you paused where you were meant to move. Take a deep breath right now and ask yourself honestly, what have I been delaying? Don't overthink it. The first thing that came to your mind, that's it. Now stay with me, because this is where everything begins to shift. There are moments when you are called before you feel ready, before you have all the answers, before you feel strong enough. And it's not a mistake, it's intentional. Because obedience was never about perfection, it was about trust. And you've been trying to replace trust with understanding. But understanding comes after movement, not before it. If you're still here listening, it means something inside you hasn't given up. Even if you felt tired. Even if you felt disconnected. Even if you felt like you missed your chance. You didn't. This is your moment to respond differently. And if this message is reaching you at the exact time you needed it, just acknowledge it quietly. This is for me. Not loudly, not publicly. Just between you and this moment, because this is personal. You're not being asked to figure everything out. You're being asked to take one step, just one, not 10, not the whole path, just the next right step. And yes, it might feel uncomfortable, but discomfort is not always a warning. Sometimes it's confirmation. Now listen carefully, because this part matters more than you think. Dear family, before we continue, I want to share something important. Recently our channel was demonetized by YouTube, which means we no longer receive earnings from these videos. Yet every message here takes many hours of prayer, writing, recording, and editing. Our mission is to bring hope and encouragement to those who feel lost, lonely, or overwhelmed. Without support, it becomes very difficult for us to keep creating these messages and continue running this channel. If these messages have ever helped or inspired you, you can support this mission through the links in the description or the pinned comment. Buy me a coffee. Even a small contribution helps us continue creating these messages and reaching people who need them the most. Thank you for your love, support, and prayers. God bless you. Now come back to this moment, because something is still unfolding. There is a difference between waiting and delaying. Waiting is guided. Delaying is avoidance. Waiting feels peaceful, delaying feels restless. And if you're honest with yourself, you haven't been at peace. That restlessness you feel, it's not anxiety. It's misalignment. You were never meant to stay where you are. And the longer you stay in hesitation, the heavier everything feels. Not because life is against you, but because you're resisting movement. So here's what I want you to do. Something simple, but powerful. First, take a quiet moment today, even if it's just 2 minutes, and remove all distractions. No phone, no noise. Just sit and breathe. Let your thoughts settle. Second, write down the one thing you've been avoiding. Not 10 things. Just one. The clearest one. Third, take a small action toward it. Not a big leap, just a step, a message, a decision, a start. That's it. You don't need to fix everything today. You just need to respond. And if part of you still feels unsure, that's okay. Courage doesn't remove doubt. It moves forward despite it. You're not being asked to be fearless. You're being asked to be willing. And willingness changes everything. Before this message ends, I want you to feel something deeply. This is not a random reminder. This is a moment of alignment. A moment where your next step becomes clear if you choose to see it. So don't rush past this. Pause, feel it, and decide. Because the call has already been made, and now it's your move. And maybe this is the part you've been avoiding, not because you didn't understand it, but because you knew once you truly faced it, you wouldn't be able to pretend anymore. Because clarity removes excuses. And right now, something is becoming clear inside you, not loudly, not dramatically, but steadily. You've been standing at the edge of a decision, and you keep looking back, hoping for confirmation, hoping for comfort, hoping for a sign that feels safer. But what if the safety you're looking for is exactly what's been holding you in place? What if growth was never meant to feel comfortable, but it was always meant to feel right? There's a difference, and you feel it. That quiet knowing, that subtle pull that doesn't leave you alone, even when you try to distract yourself, even when you scroll, even when you busy your mind, even when you tell yourself, I'll deal with it later, it comes back. Because it's not external pressure, it's internal truth. So let me ask you something you haven't asked yourself honestly. If nothing changes, how long can you keep living like this? Not just surviving but suppressing. Not just waiting but avoiding. Because time doesn't pause while you hesitate. It moves. And every moment you delay, something within you slowly disconnects from what could have been. Don't ignore that feeling. If something in you is stirring right now, just place your hand on your chest for a second and breathe slowly. You don't need to say anything out loud, just acknowledge it. Because this isn't about guilt. It's about awakening. You are not being judged. You are being called forward. And forward doesn't always look like a huge leap. Sometimes it looks like letting go of what you've been holding onto for too long. Sometimes it looks like saying no where you used to say yes. Sometimes it looks like walking away from what feels familiar into something you don't fully understand yet. But you already know what that is for you. You don't need another explanation. You need a decision. And decisions are powerful because they shift direction instantly, even before results appear. The moment you decide, something changes. Even if no one else sees it, you feel it. That shift. That's alignment beginning. But here's where it gets deeper. There are moments when delay doesn't just slow things down. It redirects your path entirely. Not because the opportunity disappears forever, but because you drift further from it with every step you don't take. And drifting is dangerous because it feels harmless. There's no alarm. No warning. Just a slow distance growing between you and what you were meant to step into. Until one day it feels unreachable. But you're not there yet. That's why this moment matters. If you're still listening, if your attention is still here, if something inside you hasn't clicked away, yet then you are still within reach of that shift. So don't scroll past this feeling. Stay with it. And if this message is hitting deeper than you expected, just whisper to yourself, I feel this. Not for anyone else. Just for you. Because honesty opens doors that denial keeps closed. You've been strong for a long time, carrying things quietly, pushing through days that felt heavy, smiling when you didn't feel like it, telling yourself it's fine when deep down it wasn't. But strength is not just endurance. Strength is also surrender when it's time to move. And right now it's time, not tomorrow, not when everything makes sense, not when you feel perfectly ready. Now. Because readiness is often an illusion. If you wait until you feel completely prepared, you might wait forever. But if you move with even a small amount of faith, you create momentum. And momentum reveals the next step. You don't need the whole map. Just the courage to take the next step without it. And listen, you're not alone in this. Even if it feels like no one understands. Even if it feels like you're walking this path by yourself, you're not. There is guidance in this moment. There is presence in this moment. There is something with you urging you forward. Not with force but with quiet persistence. So instead of asking, "What if I fail?" ask yourself something different. What if this is exactly what I've been waiting for? Let that question sit with you. Let it challenge your fear. Let it open something new. And if a part of you still resists, that's okay. Resistance doesn't mean stop. It means you're close to something important. Breakthrough often hides behind hesitation. Now take another breath, slower this time, and picture yourself one step ahead. Not 10 steps, not the final outcome egg, just one step forward from where you are right now. What does that look like? Who do you become in that step? How does it feel? Hold that image for a moment. Because that's where you're going. But only if you move. And I need you to understand this clearly. This moment will not repeat itself in the same way. Opportunities don't always disappear, but the version of you that is ready to take them does change over time. Right now you are aware. Right now you are feeling. Right now you are being called. And that combination is rare. Don't waste it. If you've made it this far, if you're still here absorbing every word, then something inside you is already shifting. You wouldn't still be here otherwise. So before this continues any further, make a quiet commitment to yourself. Not a loud promise. Not something for others to see. Just a simple, honest decision. I will not ignore this anymore. Let that settle. And when this ends, don't rush back into distraction. Don't immediately pick up your phone or jump into noise. Give yourself a moment. Because moments like this, they shape direction. And direction shapes everything. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to stop standing still. Because the call hasn't stopped. It's still there. Right now. Waiting not for perfection but for your response. And this is where everything becomes real, because it's no longer just a feeling. It's a confrontation. Not with the world, not with other people, but with yourself. The version of you that knows exactly what needs to change, and the version of you that keeps negotiating with comfort. You can feel that tension right now. It's subtle, but it's there. One part of you is ready. Ready to move, ready to respond, ready to stop circling the same place. And the other part is whispering reasons to wait just a little longer. Just one more day. Just one more sign. Just one more moment of certainty. But deep down, you already recognize that voice. It's not wisdom. It's hesitation dressed as logic. And hesitation has a cost that no one talks about. It doesn't just delay outcomes, it slowly reshapes your identity. The more you delay, the more you start believing that you are someone who doesn't act. Someone who overthinks. Someone who waits. And that belief becomes a pattern. But you were never meant to live in patterns that limit you. You were meant to break them. Right here. Right now. So pause for a second and be honest with yourself in a way you haven't been before. Not surface level honesty. The real kind. The kind that doesn't protect your comfort. Ask yourself, what am I protecting by staying where I am? Because sometimes we're not stuck. We're protecting something. a familiar routine, a familiar environment, a version of ourselves that feels safe because it's known. But safety without growth eventually becomes confinement. And you're starting to feel that, aren't you? That quiet frustration. That sense that there's more for you but you haven't stepped into it yet. That's not random. That's awareness waking up. If that resonates with you even slightly, just nod your head quietly, wherever you are. You don't need to say anything. Just acknowledge it. Because acknowledgement is the first crack in resistance. And once resistance cracks, movement becomes possible. Now listen carefully, because this next part is where many people turn away. There will never be a perfect moment. No perfect clarity. No perfect confidence. No perfect timing where everything aligns and suddenly feels easy. That moment doesn't exist. What exists is this moment. Uncertain, uncomfortable, real, and powerful if you choose to act within it. Because power doesn't come from certainty. It comes from decision. And you are closer to that decision than you think. You've been circling it, feeling it, sensing it, but not fully stepping into it. Why? Because stepping into it means letting go of who you've been. And that's not easy. Even if who you've been is limiting, it's familiar. But growth always asks for a release before it offers expansion. You can't carry everything into your next chapter. Some things have to stay behind. Old habits, old excuses, old versions of thinking that kept you small. And yes, letting go can feel like loss. But what you gain is alignment. And alignment changes everything. So instead of focusing on what you might lose, ask yourself something different. What could I finally become if I stop holding back? Let that question sit with you. Don't rush past it. Because the answer is already forming inside you. You can feel it. That version of you that feels lighter, clearer, more decisive. That version isn't far away. It's one decision away. Just one. And if this moment feels intense, if your heart is beating a little faster, if your thoughts are getting louder, that's not a sign to step back. That's a sign you're close. Close to a shift. Close to a breakthrough. Close to stepping out of the cycle you've been in for too long. So don't retreat now. Lean into it. And if something inside you is saying, "This is my moment," then don't ignore that. Just quietly affirm it. I'm ready to move. Not perfectly, not fearlessly, but willingly. Because willingness opens doors that force never could. Now let's go deeper, because this isn't just about one decision. It's about trust. Not trust in outcomes. Not trust in guarantees. But trust in the process. Trust that even if you don't see the full picture, the step you're being guided to take matters. And it matters now. Not later. Because later becomes a habit. And habits shape your future. So if you keep choosing later, you eventually create a life of almost. Almost starting. Almost changing. Almost becoming. But never fully stepping in. And you were not created for almost. You were meant for fully. Fully present. Fully aligned, fully moving. So why stay halfway? Why stay in between knowing and doing? You've stayed there long enough. This is the moment to cross that line. Not dramatically. Not loudly. But decisively. And if this message is reaching you at a time where you needed clarity more than anything, then don't take that lightly. Moments like this don't just happen. They align. And alignment is rare. So treat this moment with respect. Stay present in it. And do something simple right now. Take a slow breath in, hold it for a second, and release it gently. Feel that. That calm. That stillness. That's where your clarity lives. Not in noise. Not in overthinking. But in stillness. And from that place your next step becomes obvious. Not easy, but obvious. And that's all you need. You don't need ease. You need direction. And you have it. Right now. So don't wait for another message. Don't wait for another sign. Don't wait for everything to feel perfect. Because this is your moment. And moments like this don't stay open forever. They pass. Quietly. without announcement. And the only difference between those who step into their path and those who stay where they are is one thing: response. So before this continues any further, make a decision that only you will know. A silent commitment. A shift within. Say it in your own way, in your own words, but mean it. I will move. Let that settle. And when you feel ready, don't overthink the next step. Just take it. Because everything you've been feeling, everything that led you here, everything that brought you to this exact moment, it wasn't random. It was leading you here, to this decision, to this shift, to this response, and now it's in your hands.